Hello everyone. People often discuss what you should do to become a profitable trader, but not many delve into the things you should avoid. Personally, I'm a strong advocate for cutting out the nonsense, eliminating bad habits, traits, and anything detrimental to your skill set when trying to master something. The moment you purge the negative elements, you naturally begin to improve. In this video, I want to focus on the actions you should cease immediately if you aspire to become a profitable trader. Let's kick things off with the first point. Refrain from fixating on the potential gains of a trade. How many of you have found yourselves looking at a trade and even before entering or seeing any movement in your favor, started pulling out your calculator to project potential earnings? It's a common tendency, but it's a detrimental habit that needs to be abandoned. When you focus solely on the positives of a trade, you develop a bias. You begin seeking only information that confirms your positive outlook and ignore any potential downsides. This bias can lead you to overlook the risks associated with a trade, and you might even convince yourself that you cannot lose money on this particular trade. Consequently, traders often find themselves sidestepping their stop-loss orders, neglecting the consideration of potential losses. I've personally been in such situations during my early trading days where I'd anticipate making a certain amount and would disregard the associated risks. I'd take the trade, hoping for continuous upward movement and significant profits, only to realize later that this approach would ultimately derail my entire game plan. The next common pitfall is strategy hopping. I've observed many traders who discover an effective strategy, one that yields positive results for a week or two. However, the moment this strategy hits a rough patch, they immediately start searching for the next big thing. While it's crucial for traders to have multiple strategies adaptable to different market conditions, the key is not to hastily abandoning a strategy that has stopped working. If you find your strategy is no longer as effective, your initial task should be to understand why. Is it due to an error on your part, a shift in market direction, or is the market simply not conducive to your current strategy? Most traders, unfortunately, overlook this analysis and jump ship, seeking a shiny new indicator or structure. The result? Constantly hopping from strategy A to B to C to D, never allowing oneself to fully develop a solid edge as a trader. Another point to consider is the tendency to try to catch tops and bottoms in the market. Many traders get burned attempting to pinpoint the exact bottom or top of a trade. I always stress to traders that our goal is to capture as much of a move as possible. We don't have to catch the entire move. Rather, we aim to secure a portion of it and progressively improve, all while maintaining a calculated risk and edge. There have been instances where I've exited trades with a profit of 10 or 20,000, only to realize that if I had held the trade a bit longer, I could have doubled or tripled my profits. It's natural to feel frustrated looking back, but it's essential to remind oneself that deviating from the planned strategy wasn't part of the game plan. Our focus should be on capitalizing on the move we prepared for, executed, and ensuring we can repeat this success consistently over an extended period. So the next time you're in a trade, resist the temptation to lament not entering earlier or holding longer. Our job is to capitalize on a piece of the move and replicate that success consistently over time. Let's talk about the pursuit of big home run trades, or what some might call YOLO trades. So how many of you have tried to hit those big home runs or taken those YOLO trades in an attempt to make a substantial amount of money? Now, I completely understand that our primary goal as traders is to make money, but it's crucial to note that our job is not to take reckless or overly risky trades. When we set our sights on hitting those home run trades, we immediately step into a territory of heightened risk. For instance, if your goal is to make $10,000, you won't be risking just $1, $10, or even $100 to achieve that. In reality, you'll likely be increasing your position size, and that means exposing yourself to more risk. The moment you mentally commit to hitting a home run, especially if you're not at a stage where you can comfortably handle that level of risk, you put yourself at a significant disadvantage. I've witnessed many traders enter a trade with a mindset focused on hitting a home run, and one of the first things they alter is their position size. They might decide to go in with 1,000 shares or contracts, or instead of risking the usual $200, they'll risk $2,000 because they're convinced the trade will move in their favor. This assumption that the trade will only go higher can be dangerous. When we start calculating potential profits and build confidence in being right, it often leads to a disregard for risk management, and our carefully crafted edge and game plan go out the window. So the next time you're about to enter a trade, remember that while making money is the goal, you need to define your risk. Clearly state what you're willing to risk and acknowledge the downside if the trade doesn't go as planned. If you want to aim for higher profits, the solution is not to increase your downside risk. That's not a smart move. Now, let's touch on profit goals. Every trader, myself included, tends to set profit goals. In my early days, I constantly set ambitious targets like making $100,000 this month or $200,000 this quarter. However, setting profit goals in trading is challenging because the market doesn't consistently present opportunities. Some days or weeks the market will offer great chances, while other times opportunities might be scarce. It's important to recognize and adapt to the market's dynamics rather than rigidly sticking to predetermined profit goals. Flexibility and adaptability are key in the ever-changing landscape of trading. Imagine setting a goal to make $10,000 this month, only to find that the market is dead and flat, offering limited opportunities. When faced with such a scenario, the natural inclination is to mentally push for trades, increase size, and strive to reach that financial target. However, this often leads to taking on bad trades, overtrading, and oversizing, ultimately putting oneself at a disadvantage. Here's a suggestion. Instead of having strict profit goals, consider focusing on goals that enhance your trading skills. Goals such as refining your edge, improving entry and exit strategies. Gradually increasing your position size and adding new strategies to your playbooks can be more productive. Make these skill-focused goals your primary focus as they contribute to long-term success, and let the money-related goals naturally follow suit. Now let's touch on a somewhat counterintuitive point: following alerts in Discords, Telegrams, and similar platforms. While there's nothing inherently wrong with alert services, the issue arises when new traders blindly copy trades without understanding the reasoning behind them. Many alert services are not as effective as they claim to be, and even if you find a good one, you won't learn much unless you actively engage in understanding the thought process behind each trade. Instead of merely copying, use these services as opportunities to learn and analyze the process, questioning why a trade is made, replicating it, and adapting it to your strategy. In conclusion, it's crucial to avoid these pitfalls in your trading journey. Sometimes, when things aren't working, the solution isn't to add more complexity, but to simplify. Just as in life, cutting out what's not working can lead to significant improvements. When I face trading slumps, I create a list of things to stop doing. And by systematically removing them, my trading performance improves without adding anything new. I hope you find value in these insights. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to sharing more in the next video.